so the title of my presentation. Okay, thank you very much for this very long presentation of my career and my title. Thank you very much. It's too kind of you, and I am very proud to be here to give such a presentation. And I think this engage issue is a very important thing for the status of Iraq cultural heritage now. So the issue is that I was detecting for the last years the neglected heritage, and it is not what is heritage, but it is why it is neglected, why the youth are not involved or feel that heritage is important. So me and my colleagues and the students did some research regarding how to detect the rate of deterioration of perception of cultural heritage. So this presentation title is Traditional and Vernacular Architecture of Erbil City are not the core of interest of majority of intellectuals living in Erbil City. Actually, this presentation is a revised, updated version of a paper published in Salahuddin University Scientific Journal 2016. And also it was presented as a conference at UMass Boston 2014 by me and my colleague Benyad Khaznadar. To start with, let us talk about history of conflicts in Kurdistan region. Actually, relatively, Kurdistan region now is regarded as a settled area among the unrest in all parts of Iraq, and this is why I fled from Baghdad and get back to my city of origin, which is Erbil, in 2006. So in the periods, while in the periods from 1970 to 2003, Kurdistan region, Iraq passed through conflicts and wars. These factors of unrest led to social, economic, and cultural changes. In the last decades, so some of them can be regarded as positive cultural and urban development. So if you can you see the cursor? This is the new part of and the luxury part of the city. You can see that it is a modern city. Yes.
Apologies, your slides are not moving. If you're flicking between them, we can still see the cover page.
No, I went to slide 2.
No,
so
no,
slide
it
3.
hasn't changed. No, it's still, I think slide 1 on the PowerPoint, I can see it's still yellow. So it's yeah, now you're into slide 3.
Okay, so this is slide 2.
All right, yes, we can see that, yes.
And I passed slide 2. I will go to slide 3. You can see slide 3.
Yes.
Yeah. So I have to reduce the size a little. Now it's okay. So as I said, that in the period of 1970 to 2003, Kurdistan region passed through conflicts and wars. These factors of unrest led to social, economic, and cultural changes in the last decades. Some of them can be regarded as positive cultural and urban developments. So, for example, you can see that this is the new sector of Erbil city, and you can see a lot of works of preservation for cultural and heritage sites. Also, parts of the cultural heritage can be used for cultural and educational ceremonies and events. These are country music. French musicians passed by Erbil and gave a nice performance in one of the houses in Erbil Citadel. But we can see that architecture as a subculture, especially vernacular and traditional parts of Erbil city, reached to a status that can be regarded as critical one on physical and cultural levels, a status that needs reforms. So you can see here, these are the neglected parts of heritage. Also, they are planned to be preserved. But if you compare with the efforts spent on such projects here in the new sector of the city, maybe only one tower of these, the money spent on one tower, one of these towers can cover all the needed subsidies collapsing structure. So it means that it is neglected, although there were efforts to reconstruct some parts, but still most of the old parts are regarded as neglected. So the paper objective is to detect the rate of deterioration of perception. So in this paper, we are not trying to assess the structural and physical defects, but to detect the symbolic value which is lost and is regarded as neglected. So the symbolic value of the traditional architecture elements as part of the cultural identity of intellectuals. So we are not detecting the background of commons and laymen. We are our survey sample are intellectuals who are concerned, especially architects and professors of architecture. So living in Erbil city, and I insist living in Erbil city, because most of them they are not born in Erbil city, and specify the factors that led the vernacular and traditional architecture in Erbil city to the status of neglectedness. So this is the style or the uh, fashion of traditional architecture in Erbil city. And actually it is unique even in Iraq. Iraq is a phenomena, but Erbil city, especially because of the building material, is different. The brick in Erbil is different than the brick in the rest of Iraq. So even the patterns are created by the brick itself, not by carving the brick. Other parts of Iraq, the patterns are created by carving the brick. So if you look at the upper uh, image, you cannot see any reflection to this image, which is very important. And there are a lot of causes for this. The research covers the traditional vernacular houses in the old sector of Erbil city, including the citadel and the surrounding three traditional zones. So we have, this is the citadel, and we have three traditional zones here surrounding the citadel. And actually, the citadel is very old, but the upper part goes back to the Ottoman era, the late Ottoman era, and the three traditional sectors goes back to the early 20th century. The methodology of the research used the opposite photo as a stimuli for perception survey. So the memories, images saved in the deep data storage, mental deep data storage, if it is accumulated or common data storage or individuals data storage. So this image in this research was used as a stimuli to using semantic differential scale on a group of concerned intellectuals represented by architectural department teaching staff, and professional architects living in Erbil city. So the narrative, what is the narration of, or what is this imaged narration, is that these buildings are left alone, leaning on a stick, covered by a nylon sheet, in best cases, like an injured person coming out of a disaster, while most of the other structures, companions, let's say, are being demolished with or without a permit. So we try to raise this or to pass this narration to the audience, but still we got strange answers. We used three types of questionnaires, two of them direct and conscious, direct questions that detect the conscious standpoint of the surveyed society. And the third one is semantic polar adjectives that detect the inconscious standpoint of the audience. And we feel this is very important to in order to detect the rate of acceptability of any effort in rehabilitation or revitalization projects. Because if it is not accepted by the people, if it is not accepted by the majority, if not accepted by the intellectuals, it will not function. It's as easy as that. So the questions, I will not read all the questions. Do you support renovation actions? Do you regard architecture of the old sectors of Erbil city as an important factor? And so this is direct questions regarding collapsed heritage. And the answers, the research found that the research society agreed that the traditional buildings are important factors of the local cultural identity and need to enhance the academic studies in this regard. But they were not very supporting spending money on renovating collapsing structure such as the one in the photo. On the contrary, there were calls to demolish such structures, and some believe that there is nothing to learn from such architecture. So this is a critical case. Why should intellectuals, or even if it is one architect or professor of architecture, believe that the such a structure is not supporting development? There are answers for such questions. The second group of questions were regarding the UNESCO actions and municipality actions regarding heritage sites and the adding the Erbil Citadel on the UNESCO permanent list, and the legislations regarding the buffer zone area and the restrictions for development of such area. Here too, we can see some weird answers from intellectuals. So in this group of questions, the Survey Society agreed to support authorities' actions for renovation and adding the city on the World Heritage List. And this heritage represents an important factor in forming the identity of the urban context. But on the other hand, they were not supporting city center construction limitations legislations. And this shows some kind of contradiction. So we can see from the survey and from the bar charts. The other sub, let's say, outcome of the questionnaires was about for how long you have been living in Erbil city and whether you were born in Erbil city or not. And we found that the people who were born in Erbil city and originated from the old sectors, they do support the actions of reconstruction more than the people who are from the surrounding areas, mainly tribal people who became part of the Erbil citizens because of the rapid development of the city and urban sprawl during the last years. So the research finds that the survey outcome support the proposition that traditional vernacular architecture of Erbil city are not the core of interest of a majority of intellectuals living in Erbil city. If it was, these buildings are designed by designers. Some of them are local designers, and others are coordinators of foreign designers or international designers. So there would be some impact of such a heritage in such a new sector. Actually, these are 6 or 7 new projects, but some in one photo. So this is, I think it's a critical thing, and if the youth are the target of our program, we have to find a motive how to make use of this, not to copy it, but to learn from it and to find lessons out of this. The other issue that the research reaches to a conclusion that the status of vernacular and traditional part of Erbil city can be regarded as a disastrous, both physically and perceptually. Actually, you can see these are the preservation and the reconstruction procedures. We are losing a lot of details. So this is the old building and this is the new building constructed. So why? Because it is neglected, because it is not preserved in a proper manner. Once they try to make maintenance, the structures, because it's earthen architecture, it collapse and then replaced by such architecture, which looks like local, but we are losing the the touch of rusty old architecture. The other factor, the research also concludes that the rapid development, change of population, and change of pattern of living led the old sector and the related heritage to be a minor part of the city as an area and as memories. So if you see, this is the citadel, and this is put in the middle is the citadel for the new master plan of Erbil city. And now today the master plan is like this, and this is the old area. So all these people who live in this huge area are coming from different origins. They don't have any memories with this. For me, I am originated from the citadel. I have a lot of memories. And I have learned about the citadel all of my life from my father, mother, and grandfather. But other people do not. The research recommends that the concerned authorities need to support campaigns that highlight the importance of cultural heritage as a premises for any future development. So here I can quote from the Engage standpoint. So and I highlighted this part. For Engage Network, ethos and principles of a humanitarian heritage as integrated value system of inclusivity, tolerance, knowledge, sharing, and cultural exchange across language, cultural and ethnic barriers, adapting principles of translating culture. Actually, Erbil Citadel, this one, till the 30s of the last century, it was 400 mentions, and 600 families were living there, including Jews, Muslims, Christians, Turks, Arabs, and Kurds. And it was a civilized community, and all the names was Qassab, Haddad, Najjar. There was no tribal origins for the names, and it was regarded as a civilized community. While now the UNESCO regards this huge area of construction as a semi-civilized because of the tribal background of the inhabitants. At the end of, there are recommendations. I don't like to go to this is a very classical academic recommendations. But I like to go to the other slide where you can find other works that me and my team have done in a parallel manner. So the role of collaborative perception in determining procedure and procedure priorities of reconstruction of Mosul Old City. We followed same manner of having a photo as a stimuli and checking the standpoint of the people, and we got very, very strange answers. And there is another issue raised by the UNESCO, which is health and cultural heritage. So I have a student, a PhD student, who's working on the health and cultural heritage links, and we have another work about cultural heritage. I had a student who worked on the typology of old heritage buildings in Erbil city, the typology and the typology of the vocabulary used in the local language of Erbil city. At the end, I thank you very much for this, for listening as a start, and for this opportunity to present my work in this very high rank and high reputation platform. Thank you very much.